All right, it is Tuesday night, and we're going live once again. For those of you joining, and for those of you watching the replay, as always, thanks for tuning in. So now we're talking about tips on locking in to do your best. The theme of this is when you're going into a competition or just looking back on a period of a program or a specific goal or focus, you don't want to come to the end of that road and think, oh man, if only I did this differently, or oh man, if only I had done this all the way. So, what I'm doing here is starting up an 8-week accountability program. We're going to cover that, but really it's just about locking in the essentials. And a lot of people have problems with this when they do a program like 75 hard. 75 hard is very demanding. You have to do 2 workouts a day. One of them has to be outside. You have to hit your step goal. It says follow a diet. Not specific on that, so that's not one of the harder ones. But there's a lot of tough things to that. And when people try to throw everything in all at once, what tends to happen for many people is they fall off really quickly. So we're going to talk about how to build up steady and make sure that what we're doing is sustainable and going to last beyond a short temporary period, right? So let's just go ahead and dive in. The reality is that almost all of us know what we're supposed to do. We all know that we're supposed to train, recover, eat, and have a good practice to manage our stress. But it can get hard. We have difficult lives. We have challenging moments in our relationships, our job, and it can be very easy to fall off path. So we're just talking about how to avoid that and make sure that you're staying committed and showing up for yourself at the very highest level. Okay, so starting off, training is the easy part. That's something that you should be able to do no matter what. If you have a program, if you have a coach, this helps you to stay accountable to that very simply. But for most people in strongman or just any sort of goal pursuit, we like to work out. We enjoy training. So that is just something to know. Let's use the momentum of enjoying what we're doing in some aspect to apply good, positive thought and focus into everything else. When you're trying to get the most out of your training program and get to your goal as fast as possible and improve as quickly as you can, the things that you have to start with are identifying your biggest area of need. So to give you a personal example, I'm right now working on an Olympic weightlifting block. My mobility is not sufficient to do this to the highest level. So when I'm personally looking at my biggest area of need, I need to stretch a lot more. That's it. I have a coach who's writing my workout programs, so I don't have to put any thoughts whatsoever into that. That's easy. I have a nutritionist who is telling me exactly what to eat. Of course, I still have to meal prep, cook all my own foods, follow the plan, but that's generally pretty easy for me too. My sleep is in order for the most part. I feel like it's pretty good. So that's another thing that is not my biggest area of focus. But what it is for me is I know that I need to stretch more often. I need to practice more mobility. So once you find your own individual biggest area of need, the best way to go about this to create success and improve on that is to create a floor. As I said in the very beginning, there are things like 75 hard, which are very intense, or sometimes you'll have a 30-day challenge that requires you to completely drastically change everything you're doing. And many people find that unsustainable. But if you take this area of need and create a floor This is a minimum requirement that you have to do. You're going to have a better approach that will allow you to stay on top of it, continue to make progress. And then if you are able to do any better than that, so for example, with my example of stretching, I need to stretch 10 minutes a day or mobilize 10 minutes a day. I can do that before my workout. Boom, done. If I am able to do extra stretching at night or anytime throughout the day, sometimes I'll be able to take a break from work and just hit a little bit of thoracic mobility or stretch my lats. I hung my pull-up bar right over one of my doors. So every time that I pass it, I'm going to do a quick couple of lat stretches. What I'm doing by having my minimum of 10 minutes a day and then finding little opportunities to add to that is just good dopamine boost, and it's a reinforcement to me that I am going to move faster in the direction that I want to go. But hey, sometimes things get busy, life happens, and if I don't find any extra time or I just don't do that extra, it's okay because I hit my minimums. So let's give the example of nutrition. Let's say that you are somebody whose nutrition is lacking, right? So you can create your floor of a protein target. We all know that we should be hitting a macro target. We all know that we should be having the right amount of carbs, fats. We need to figure out exactly what that means in the scope of our full calories, whether we want to just perform better, gain muscle, lose fat, any of that. But if you don't even know where to start or you have a hard time following through with that, your floor might be hitting 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you can do that, you created a success. And then if you get your calories perfect, it's just an extra dopamine boost. You don't need to worry about doing 50 million things at once. You need to have something that's a ground level minimum that you know you can do and build up from there. Now, the only way that we can make sure that we are building up from that is you have some measure to track this. I talk a lot about using food tracking apps to monitor that progress. If you are using a workout program, you should have an app or at least a journal to write what you're doing with the weights, sets, reps, so that you know the next time you come back to that exercise, what the standard is so that you go above and beyond. I should say above and beyond, so that you take a step forward. So what gets measured gets managed. I'll keep relaying back to my mobility example for me because that's the one that's so much pressing for me. One way that I track is I actually look at videos and pictures of myself when I'm getting into things such as a front rack position, and I analyze it from week to week. So I try to pay attention to how well I can get my elbows up or how easy it is for me to put my wrists back into flexion to hold this bar. And by tracking just from pictures and visuals, I'm going to be able to tell, well, that looks a little tighter than last week. Or hopefully, oh, I'm in a much better position this week. So that goes to show me that my progress is happening. So you need to not just do this aimlessly. You have to have some sort of metric or visual or somehow some measure to show that you are making progress or not. So I'm going to go ahead and skip way ahead on this one, but assess and analyze. So when we are trying to track something or we have a goal, we need to constantly be recalibrating on whether or not what we're doing is putting us in the right direction. Okay. For a while, sometimes I was trying to get up real early to get my day started as early as possible, just as a productivity hack or something like that. But what it really does for me is take away from my sleep. So my energy was a little lower. My workouts were not as good as they could have been. So that was just an analysis on myself that I needed to either improve my sleep and go to bed earlier, or I needed to shift my day around, work out a little later, and just change. So always track what you're doing and then assess and analyze daily, weekly, bi-weekly, every month if what you're doing is actually working. And if it's not, it's okay. But we have to stay focused on whatever that goal is bringing back to identifying your biggest area of need. With all this stuff, you have to remember there's no man is an island. And I also say there is no I in strongman. So even though strongman is an individual pursuit, you are not an isolated individual. Okay? You are part of a community. No matter how bad you may want to be this rogue warrior that just walks their own path, the truth is, if you're competing in strongman, you're competing against other people, and competition is a great thing. The Latin root of the word competition means to conspire together. So why wouldn't you want to conspire together with other people to allow you to be your best self? And I think owning that and really trying to find your tribe or your people that are going to boost you up the best is very important. Now, this could be a smaller example. It could be your family. It could be your partner, your spouse. It could be your friends. For me, I have a whole bunch of different things in my life. I have, my wife is an awesome CrossFitter. She's not doing strongman as I am, but she's somebody else who's very focused on all of these aspects: training, nutrition, sleep. So we hold each other accountable. We talk about our goals with each other. If you have people in the strongman community, we're all training to get stronger, fitter, more conditioned, more athletic, and we're going to find some similar struggles, right? Sometimes if we're training for the exact same competition, you could have any sort of variety of problems. Let's just take World's Strongest Manatee, for example. I don't know how to get faster on my sandbags, or maybe I'm having a very tough time picking up my sandbags and executing that event. If you have a network and a community of people to bounce these off of, this is going to be part of the assessing and analyzing, where you can get feedback from other people that are doing it successfully that you can apply to yourself. So having a whole bunch of resources and a group of people with you is only going to benefit you. I've learned so many things from so many other people that has only benefited me. Even as a coach, when I am writing programs for people, I'm not pretending that I came up with all of these ideas, because I did not. The reality is, nobody, even the very highest top level, brilliant minded coaches in the entire game, they have their own spin on things, but they're learning from all of these different people. I've learned from Josh Bryant, my current coach, Max McCall. I'm currently studying the Paul Chek curriculum. I've learned from Charles Poliquin, and finding all of these little things from all of these different people. This is another interpretation on there is no I in strongman. No man is an island. I'm able to provide a better program and a better system for people by learning from others. And it comes down to having a little bit of humility and being humble that you don't have all the answers. It's okay. You're not supposed to. Part of growing and getting better is admitting that you need help. That makes you stronger. I spent a lot of time in my life pretending that I had all the answers. As a matter of fact, this is the reason why I really went nowhere as a good strongman until about 2022, 2023, when I decided to hire Max. I came to a point where I was finally able to accept my overhead pressing is not good enough to cut it at the highest level, and I need help. So because I was honest with myself, I assessed that what I was doing was not working, and I analyzed that I wasn't figuring it out. I reached out to other people to help me out with this. I've also reached out to other people to help me with my Olympic lifting, stretching. I now have a nutritionist who I put my full faith in. The guy is doing wonders for me. So use your community, use your resources. Now, also very important is we do need to alternate times of when we're being hyper-focused on our goals and then times when we are relaxed, reels off. For me, I take a full week off after competitions on purpose. Even sometimes when I feel pretty good, I feel that I'm ready to get back into the gym and training right away, I intentionally back off and give myself some mental time and physical relaxation time to just take many steps back. So what this is going to do for you is energetically, it'll allow you to just kind of wash off the weight and the pressure that you may have been putting on yourself going into a show. But there's also a lot of physical benefits. Your joints will have some time to recover. By not training really hard, even if you absolutely love that, you'll be more enthused and excited to get into it by having that period away from it. So give yourself some time to get out of this. And this is really, really works good immediately after competitions or these periods of focus. I think you need to, in advance, schedule times where you are giving yourself permission to relax. A lot of people get to this point where they're at the end of the competition and they're saying, well, what do I do now? And they try to rush into something else. But instead, you get a huge benefit if you know, say, hey, I'm going to train hard in a week. I get to relax this week. It's wheels off, or I don't want to say wheels off, but it's just off time. I get to maybe watch a little extra TV, that movie series I've been wanting to watch for a while. Now I can just relax without guilt or shame because I've done all of these things. And I think knowing that you have those opportunities coming up helps you stay reeled in. This is also a good benefit of somebody that might implement cheat meals into their diet every 2 weeks, every month, something like that, because you have this reward system in place so you can prolong that dopamine rush and that cheat longer with that end in sight. So with all of this, it's really important that you stay focused and open-minded. You really should think of yourself as a heat-seeking missile or a torpedo. What these things do is they have a fixed end goal in mind all the time. But the end goal is moving. Even if it's a torpedo that's launching at another submarine, or this heat-seeking missile is going after another aircraft, it's always changing a little bit. So these things, they constantly recalibrate, they assess and analyze all the time to make sure that when we know our definitive target, if something goes a little off course, we're going to be able to correct and just go right back in. So being focused and open-minded is going to allow you to make changes that you might need in your progress, or to continue making progress, that is, and having humility to stay open-minded. A lot of people think that they are just wrong and a failure if what they're trying doesn't work. But instead, by being open-minded, you can just say, this was not the right solution. This is coming back to the Thomas Edison inventing the light bulb situation, where he went through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of prototypes before he figured it out. Do you think he ever would have gotten there if he had the goal of creating a light bulb and he quit after 1 or 2 or 3 because he thought he was a failure? No. And that only came through being focused and determined that I'm going to get this done. I know my end target, and I will figure it out no matter what. And that's how you need to approach this. Okay? Have confidence, have self-belief in yourself. And if you come to this moment, which we all do because we're human, where you might not think that you are good enough, or things are too hard, or you're just going crazy because you don't feel that things are going in the direction you want them to go, come back to your community, connect with others, ask them for help, and see if anybody else is going through a similar situation, because the chances are they have. When I came to a point where I was ready to ask for help from others in many different situations, this is not just my training or my nutrition, but this is, talking about my problems with my friends. I never wanted to burden them with things, but when I became more open about my struggles, I started to realize, and very shockingly to me at the time, see that, wow, there's really a lot of us going through these things. I thought that I was just alone in this struggle of XYZ the whole time, but when I'm open about these problems, life's hard, and we all do go through a lot of the same situations in one way, shape, or form. So it's just important to remember that, and you respectfully have to get over yourself a little bit and reach out to people if you need help. So what we're doing here is talking about all of these elements to really find ways to make progress no matter what. And the way that I am implementing this is inside the Strongman Club. In the Strongman Club, we're up to 46, 47 as of today members now. And this is a community of nothing but people who are all trying to get stronger. As I was saying earlier, we all go through the same set of challenges. We all have very, very similar goals. They're all very close to each other, and in many cases, the exact same thing. So what we will be doing is laying out a system of creating a floor for you yourself, the individual, based on your biggest area of need, and then having some sharing inside the group about what's going well and what do you need help with. We have an app for this. I'm not going to reveal all the information here on this because I would like you to come check this out inside. Got a little glare there, but it's school.com/the Strongman Club. I'm going to hide that there. SKOOL.com/the Strongman Club. I spent way too many years going through these things by myself. Even though I had a great program and a great coach, he had maybe hundreds of other clients, and I couldn't get the direct one-on-one feedback that I needed on different things, including training, nutrition, recovery, mobility. But with this setup and what we're going to be doing starting on Monday is day one of this, is helping each other get better. So I'm going to be cutting this short tonight. I really would like to see you inside. Right now we're running a 7-day free trial if you want to check it out and see what this is all about. But this is not just a chat with other people. Inside Strongman Club, we have resources for your mobility, your nutrition, your training, your sleep, all of these extracurriculars that you already know that you need to focus in on in order to be at your best. So if you're not sure what to do, there's going to be plenty of ideas and strategies and suggestions that you can implement in a realistic, sustainable way to be your best. So there's also a link in the description of this video down below. Cutting it short tonight, but I appreciate you guys watching. I hope that some of this resonates with you, and I hope to see you inside to join us. The last thing I want you to do, what I want you to think right now, if you're watching this video, is how would you feel in 8 weeks from right now? You're looking back and saying, dang, I just wish I had stretched a little more. Man, I wish I had mobilized a little better to help me get a better log press. Or dang, I'm so tired. I wish I had done my conditioning this whole time. That would have made a huge difference. You don't want to go into any of these things with regrets. So let's set you up to make sure that that doesn't happen. You can bring your very highest best self to the end of this term to World's Strongest Manatee if you're training for it, and you can get stronger with an awesome group of people. So check out school.com/the Strongman Club. There's a link in the description down below. If you have any questions, you can always reach out, drop me a comment. All of my socials on every single channel is at Stephen M. Coyne, same as this YouTube right here. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, and have a championship evening. Stay strong.